Welcome to Penny for Your Shots, conversations and cocktails with brilliant women. I'm your host, Penny Fitzgerald, and I believe the best stories are the ones shared over a glass of wine or a cocktail. Each week, I sit down with women who've said yes to building something meaningful, often after years of putting everyone else first. We talk business, big dreams, and the mess in between. And of course, a few favorite drinks. So grab a glass, get comfy, and let's pour ourselves into Penny for Your Shots. Today's episode is a powerful reminder that it's never too late to start over, pivot, or create something new. Belinda Sandor shares how she built a business at 50 that now at 65 gives her freedom, flexibility, and a lifestyle she loves. And so much of what she shares aligns with what I coach on every day. This is the kind of conversation that happens when women get in the right room together, whether it's coaching, community, or something like wine camp. Everything shifts. Here is Belinda Sandor. Thank you so much for your patience.
That's okay. It happens. It happens. And I was able to do some things with my chickens that I wasn't going to do till. And so it's all good. It's all good.
Good. Chickens. Tell me
Chicken.
about that.
Yeah, I have 25 chickens. I have one chicken, Abigail, that was hatched in 2019. And then I have four chickens that were hatched in 2020. And then I have 20 chickens that were hatched last July, and they're starting to lay eggs. And yesterday, I didn't get the eggs for 2 days, but we had 60 eggs in the coop.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's good to have hobbies, right?
It's wonderful. A good hobby.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice because it's not like having a dog where they're like you have to constantly wonder what's in their mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it's enough that like I go out there for an hour at night and they crawl on my lap and they,
Oh,
with me and they get excited when I go out and I give them treats. And so it's nice. And it gets me away from my desk.
oh my gosh. That's fantastic. Where do you live, Belinda?
I live in Virginia. I live in a rural part of Virginia, all the way over on the East Coast, just about like a mile from the Chesapeake. My husband and I bought a
Okay.
farm here in 2024. We bought
Uh-huh.
21 and a half acres, and we're going to try our hand at gardening this year. We've done it in the past, but on a smaller scale. We're going to
Yeah.
a little bit bigger garden, and right now we're thinking about getting a couple of barn cats. So we're
Oh,
expanding.
I love all of that.
Where are you?
I'm in Sarasota, Florida currently, and
Nice.
we live in Iowa, really small farm town, um, during the summer months, during the warm months. So yeah,
Oh, that's great. That's great. And do you
we
have
love to
gardens
garden.
and animals and things?
We do in Iowa, we have a garden, pretty robust one, but yeah, nothing like 21 acres. So,
Yeah, well, half of it is in woods and then half of it
uh-huh.
are fields. So do you have raised beds or do you go right into the ground?
We have both. Yeah, so our
Hmm.
raised beds, we have stuff like carrots and beets and herbs mostly. And then in the ground, we have tomatoes, peppers, garlic, onions, and of course asparagus and rhubarb,
Oh, wow.
horseradish. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I got to figure it all out. Yeah.
it's a lot. Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
good. It's a good thing.
It's gonna be because I work full time, so it's gonna be a layered approach, a layered approach.
Yes,
But yeah, yeah.
I love it. I
Hmm.
love it. Okay, okay. Belinda, please tell me and tell our audience, give us your name and tell us what you do.
Okay. So my name is Belinda Sandor. I live, like I was just saying, in rural Virginia with my husband and 25 chickens. And I started my own VA business as a virtual assistant business in 2010. I was in a big life transformation, transition and transformation, where I was getting divorced, becoming a single mom. I lived in downtown Boston at the time.
Oh, wow.
And I was struggling to get a job. I was struggling to get a job at 50. And that had never happened before. So someone was sort of whispering in my ear, what if you go out on your own? What if you offer admin support? There really wasn't such a thing as a VA back then, or there was, but no one knew what it was called.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that. And I built the business up I've been doing it for 15 years now. But in 2019, I decided to start teaching people how to how to start their own business and earn a good living working from home. And so that's how I spend my days now.
Oh, that's great. That really wasn't a thing, or people didn't think about it as being a thing that you could really do back then.
No, well, some of it was sort of hybrid. Some was in person, some was virtual. And then
Hmm.
I met my husband, and he lived 264 miles away. So I was really motivated to figure out how to get it in the cloud because he worked in New York City and he had zero flexibility. So I transitioned all my clients to all of their work and all of my work onto the internet as the tools were being developed, and
Hmm.
just did it from there.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so back in the day, what were some of the tools that you were using back then?
Constant Contact. I was doing email newsletters
Yes.
back then, still
Hmm.
using Constant Contact. I was, I had my second client, I was helping him um, with webinars, but Zoom wasn't invented. So you couldn't
Yeah.
actually see people's faces. So we would do webinars and I would create slides for each one of the participants. So we would introduce everyone with a
Oh,
PowerPoint
nice.
slide and where
Uh-huh.
they were located and their picture and what they did. And we could hear their voices, but we couldn't go on live
Uh-huh.
video. So very much like how people do webinars now with on Zoom or streaming software. We did that in the dark ages using something called Ready Talk that doesn't even exist anymore. So I did a lot of that. WordPress was strong back then. I did
Mhm.
WordPress updates, but a lot of email newsletters, some online. QuickBooks was online back then, so I did some bookkeeping, things like that.
Yeah. Wow. I remember doing some of those conference calls back in the day too. All just audio. You couldn't really see people like.
No, not at all. Yeah, that was really popularized by the pandemic. I've been using Zoom for I don't know, probably 8 years before that for screen sharing. So I would, because some of my clients, many of them are not very technical, so I would remote control their computer and
Oh,
do work
nice.
on it. Yeah, so that's how I use Zoom. I was not on camera at all until 2020.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah, we all kind of did learned how to use Zoom during that phase.
We did.
That was one good thing that came out of it.
Yeah, there are lots of good things that came out of it. It was pretty scary in the
Yeah.
actual time, but
Yeah.
my life didn't change that much. My husband did the grocery shopping, and I was kind of business as usual. As a VA, my business really took off. And then my community had only started 6 months before. So our Facebook community started growing 1,000 a month. It was like I built
Holy
this little
cow.
fire. And it was like the pandemic threw gasoline on
Hmm.
it because people wanted to work from home, but they weren't wanted to work from home for themselves.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. So tell us about your community. You started it before the pandemic and
I
grew
did.
through that.
I did. Had wanted to start a community for a while. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know if it was going to be an association. I didn't really understand about Facebook communities back then. When I started my VA business, people were writing on Facebook. They were posting, going to the airport. It wasn't this machine that now,
Yeah.
right? And there was like really no pictures and so I started the community in 2019. I hired a business coach who knew how to do that. And I started with small group coaching programs. So I would have 6 or 8, mostly women. I had a 12-week program, and every week we would meet, and I was available in between, and I taught them how to launch their businesses. And when the pandemic hit and the community started to grow, I started a membership. So it was a membership for back then it was called the VIP Club, and it was for people who wanted to be part of a community online, a paid community with training. So I started that in April of 2020, and then continued to run all of these programs. And then in 2021, launched my program, VA School, which is the program that I run now. It's a 6-month program for people on how to be a virtual assistant.
Wow, great. Okay, so for those who may not know, can you tell us how would you describe, excuse me, how would you describe a VA? What do they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So a VA, there's really 3 legs to the stool: creative, technical, or administrative. And you
Hmm.
can do any combination of those. And it's really supporting entrepreneurs, consultants, business owners, Very much in the same way you would in person. But the thing that's so appealing is that it's fractional, right? So people are not they're not employing you, so they're not having to promise you 10 hours a week or 10 hours a month. It's
Mm.
really as needed.
Hmm.
And so you can people it's this is hard for most people to wrap their brain around, but it's true. You can do anything you want and you don't have to do things you don't want. So for example, I did PowerPoint presentations for a lot of my clients who were consultants and they went into big corporations and taught. But I can't do graphics. But I had a friend who did
Mm.
graphics. And so my
Hmm.
client would pay him and he would email me the graphics and I put it in the PowerPoint. So there are ways to collaborate. Um, if there are things that you can't slash don't want to do. But it's really, it kind of harkens back to the I used to be a secretary, and so it's
Hmm.
very much the idea of being in service to an entrepreneur and working with them, and it can be in so many different ways now with all the technology.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you work exclusively with entrepreneurs or are you working with corporations, companies too?
When I was full time as a virtual assistant, I worked with solo professionals. So mostly service-based people who were working on their own. So marketing consultants, nutritionists, financial planners, trainers. I had a couple of gym owners that I worked with over
Hmm.
time. So really people who are working in the spare bedroom, but are up to something big. Like maybe they're training in a company like Fidelity or Liberty Mutual or big companies like that, and I would be the support behind them.
Okay. Okay. And then describe the three legs again for
Yeah,
us.
it's administrative. So
Hmm.
administrative can be calendar management, it can be email inbox management,
Mm.
it can be data entry, it can be setting up. Well, I guess that'd probably be more technical. So it's really more it's admin, right? Making
Hmm.
PowerPoint presentations. And then the creative is more in lines with graphical support, things like that, website design, and then the technical, it's kind of a mix of all of it. So the technical can be actually building websites, it could be updating websites, it could be running the more technical pieces of a webinar series, like
Hmm.
when we first started doing it. Um, but I don't think that most VAs would classify themselves as one or the other. It's
Hmm.
really more of a hybrid that we all have little pieces of it.
Well, and social media is a big part of it too, right? Like doing the posting and the creative for social media posts and
Yes,
scheduling and all
absolutely.
of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and even though a lot of people would consider that technical, it's really more administrative.
Mm.
The thing is that there's not much code that we touch anymore. It's really
Mm-hmm.
all about, dropping it here and clicking this button and, choosing the calendar. And so something like social media, while it sounds intimidating if you don't know what you're doing, it's really straightforward once you boil it down.
Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are a bit intimidated, and also just the sheer volume and the changes, the algorithmic changes, all of that, not having control of that piece for social media has really, I think, overwhelmed some entrepreneurs. So having somebody that can navigate it, that knows who's on top of things on a day-to-day basis and might hear about the algorithms changing before the general public, that I think that would be
Right.
very valuable.
Yeah. Well, I think when it comes to things like algorithms, I mean, me as a coach and a mentor, that's a part of my world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think putting out content that speaks to your audience on a consistent basis is more important than the algorithm. I think sometimes people get frozen by
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff. And if you just
Mm-hmm.
consistently are authentic and put out a good message and don't worry about that,
I feel too that most of the time our hangups about social media are because of a limiting belief that we might have. We don't
totally.
want to be present. We don't want to be seen. Oh my gosh, what if my high school buddy sees this? Or my sister, what are my cousins going to say? All of that, it just keeps us
Yeah,
small.
that's real. That is
Hmm.
absolutely real. Yeah. So my advice about that would be, don't share things that are vulnerable for you.
Mm,
So when I talk to my students, I encourage them to write a newsletter at least once a month. And you don't need to expose things that happened in your life. It's really about talking about services that you could offer. So, I mean, even with me as a VA trainer, I'm on social media all the time, but I'm not necessarily sharing a conversation I'm having with my daughter or a tragedy
mm,
in my family. You don't have to do that. It's really just about sharing the goodness that you can offer and the help that you can bring other
mhm,
people. And I know a lot of us have had experiences where we've all of us have where we've shared something and we've been vulnerable and somebody's slapped us, and
mm,
we're kind of
mhm.
like that puppy, with the paper, going like
Yes.
that. And I think if we can realize that that was a moment in time and that you don't have to let your life be
Yeah.
defined by it.
Yeah.
I know it's
Well,
hard.
it is hard. Think so many times too that the people that are slapping you with the newspaper
Yeah.
are trolls that are living in their mother's basement. It's not someone
Yeah.
that knows
Yeah.
that's doing the thing. You can't really
Right.
take it
Right.
seriously.
Right. 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 There was something that I read a long time ago in a book, and the book just had it was just republished recently and updated. It's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, and it's a very
Mhm.
powerful book. And he talks about how the number of people who attend your funeral largely has to do with the weather. And so when you think about, and I'm sure
Oh.
it's true. I'm sure it's true. And so when you think about like, who are you trying to please and what are you trying to do for people who aren't even going to come to your funeral? And I get that whole thing about, what's my family going to think and what's she up to now? And
Mm,
I get that. And being maybe embarrassed because of a level that you reached in corporate and now you're doing something different that people don't really understand.
mm, mhm.
Um, it can be a lot. But I would say go find some new friends.
Good advice. Yes. Yes, yes. If the people that are closest to you are not supporting you, then there's a sign. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think who you let in your close proximity or,
Hmm.
is so important. It's so important. And
Yeah.
we don't understand always that we have complete control over that.
Hmm. Exactly. Well, and really, over what we say to ourselves is maybe the most
Oh,
important. We would never talk to a girlfriend like we talk to ourselves. We beat ourselves up
no.
so much.
No, no. And we spend a lot of time on mindset in my school and talking about
Hmm.
that and learning to retrain the voice. And it's never going to go away.
Hmm.
It's just not. And I spent a lot of time trying to force it to go away. But what I realized is what we really need to do is we need to make friends with it. And when we make friends with it, then we can train it to be kinder. So where the voice maybe would start with me when I'm trying something new and it would go off on this big rampage about what you're doing and this is ridiculous and you shouldn't even be trying this. Now what I say is, oh, that feels uncomfortable. Oh, that's what that is.
Oh,
Oh,
there you
I'm
are.
not going to listen to that.
I see
Okay.
you.
That's right. That's right. Right. And then you might have moments of it pop up, but if you practice listening to your thoughts and what I love this phrase, choose a better feeling thought. Just keep choosing a better
Hmm.
feeling
Yeah,
thought, then you'll move yourself right out of it.
exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ask a better question. Like,
Right.
what's really happening here? Oh, it's just something new. It's going to take me a while to figure it out.
That's right. And one of my business coaches said recently, and I love this. He said it's only a problem if there's no solution. Almost
And there
everything
is no
has a
problem without a
solution.
solution.
Right, right. It's very rare. It's like, terminal illness or
Mm.
tragic death. Other than, we can lean into a solution. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's a perspective. So, yeah, is this
Mhm.
going to matter in 10 years from now or even 10
No,
minutes from now?
no,
Wow. Okay. So you're now training other VAs to do their own thing and to be their own boss and make their own hours and that sort of thing. That's got to be really rewarding.
it is very rewarding. It really is. One of my favorite examples is a woman, her name is Carrie. She started a couple of years ago. She was a stay-at-home mom. She was homeschooling her kids, never worked outside of the home. And she was taking care of her mother-in-law. And her mother-in-law
Mm.
went into a nursing home situation.
Hmm.
So she had more free time. So she started building her business. and she works consistently 15 to 20 hours a week, and she makes between $5,000 and $8,000 every single month, and
Wow.
part-time hours. And it's because she worked the system. Everyone she knows what she does. She publishes a newsletter. She's on social media. She networks, and that's what's possible. That's what's possible.
That is so exciting. Yeah, and doing it from home, doing it on your own hours, doing what lights you up and brings you joy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Working with people you enjoy. Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, well, part of the reason you can work with people you enjoy is, when you get into a workplace and you're working with your boss for 40 hours a week, if
Hmm.
there's any kind of personality rub, there's no room for that. Where if you're working virtually and someone emails you and asks you to do something, you're not in the room with them. All of that
Hmm.
water cooler political stuff. There's not many people that most of us can't take in small doses. That makes it easier.
Yes, even my brother.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I digress.
We all have that.
Um, yeah, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs too, but in a very different way, a different capacity. But it is very rewarding when you see someone light up and change their own lives through their own business and what they're doing. Just to see that is rewarding, fulfilling. It brings a
Yeah,
lot of joy.
it's so satisfying. Yeah. And I've been
Hmm.
doing it now long enough that there's just story after story after
Oh,
story.
I love it.
And I love showcasing them and showing them off. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Well, and really, okay, we getting back to the social media thing, what
Hmm.
you show, I mean, showing those kinds of things is so powerful. Like, and everybody has success stories in whatever business they're in. So sharing
Absolutely.
those on social media and kind of focusing on someone else, I feel like when you take the focus off yourself and you focus on who you're supporting, who you're helping, and remember who you serve, it becomes a lot easier to be visible because then it's about them. It's about how you're helping someone else.
Yes, and what's helped me in the past, because there are times where I get stuck and I think I have nothing to say, I have nothing to say, just like is I've come up with phrases. Like one time, the first time I tried this, it was Operation Fall in Love. So everything that I talked about was Operation Fall in Love. Fall in love with virtual assistants, fall in love with the lifestyle, fall in love with
Oh, a
how much you
theme.
Right, a theme. So when you don't know what to talk about, you're like, okay, Operation Fall in Love. What am I in love with today?
Mm.
And it could be going to the grocery store in the middle of the day, or it could be, going out to the chickens and taking
Mhm.
care of them and
Mhm.
not having to leave my job or ask permission. Or recently, we had a couple of deaths in the family, and I needed to go take care of people. The conversation was, when can I leave? That was the whole conversation. When's the next plane? Which is different from
Oh,
who's going to do my
nice.
work and who do I have
Right.
to talk to, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, the flexibility of owning your own business, of doing your own thing is just unmatched.
Yeah.
That in my opinion, that's worth way more than a salary increase.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
Quality of life.
Yeah. And I think we get so bogged down by, I mean, I had a job for 17 years and
Hmm.
went every day corporate, and we get so conditioned by it that we don't even realize that something else is possible.
Exactly. Exactly. It's the way it's always been, and so that's all you can see.
Right.
Dreaming bigger is another thing that I've coached a lot of my clients on in the past, and like how just thinking bigger, thinking outside of what you've already seen, and thinking, if you've come this far, if you've done X, Y, and Z, what is beyond that? How do you visualize that and cast that vision? One of the things that I talk to my clients about is, what would your older, wiser self want for you? She wants the best for you, first of all. And how can you support her future life? Like, what do you want that future life to look like? And what do you do in this moment to support that?
Right. And people struggle with that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Bridging that gap. It's true. It's sometimes it's hard to see that connection. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was another exercise I do with people too, that where you look back at your 6 or 7 year old self and what do you want to tell her?
Yeah.
What have you been through and what have you survived and what are you proud of? And look at the things that you've done and you've accomplished
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
life.
Very
And you want the
powerful.
best for her. So your
Right.
older, wiser self, of course, wants the best for you too. It's the same thing in just a
Right.
different generation.
Right. Right. I've been doing an exercise like that recently, where I call it a future memory. So I'll sit
Mm-hmm.
down with a challenge that I'm having today, I mean, the challenge could be well, here's an example. So let's
Uh-huh.
say it's Sunday and I am at my desk, but I really want to be outside. And I'm struggling with that because I'm a little mad that I'm inside, but I am committed to the inside thing, but I really want to be outside. So the future memory that night might be me writing, I am so grateful that I decided in January to stop working on the weekends. It transformed my entire business. It helped me be more clear, more present. My marriage is in amazing shape because of all the adventures Greg and I have had on the weekend because my time is not divided. My brain is not divided. So I'll
Oh,
take a challenge, look for the solution and write about it as if it's happened and then put things in place to move towards that as quickly as I can.
that's beautiful and powerful.
It is because when you're writing it, if you feel it and you put the
Mm-hmm.
energy in it, it's kind of inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah. Writing about it and then even reading it out loud, saying it out loud.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. It's very impactful. I've done letters to myself like that too. What am I proud of in the last whatever?
Hmm.
And just, I'm in a puddle. I'm a mess after doing it, but in a good way, in the very best way,
That's
you know?
awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So what else would you like to tell my audience? What have you, what do you do? What about working with people and that sort of thing?
I think the biggest message that I'm standing on a hill about is that it's never too late to have the life that you want.
Mm,
It's never too late. And it's
preach.
funny. Yeah, because when I would turn 50, I had six figures of debt. I had the divorce, I had all these back taxes, I have this 9-year-old daughter, all of the things. And I honestly, what I thought in that moment was buckle up, buttercup, like you need to get through this. Like that's how I was
Yeah.
approaching my
White
life.
knuckling it through the thing.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
and then gradually over time, because I had tried so many things and I was holding on so tight and I just couldn't get any traction. And it was through the process of being a virtual assistant that a little at a time I could see the freedoms that I had and I could
Mm.
see the money that I could make. And now sliding, I'm going to be 65 on Thursday and sliding into 65, just seeing that the, the only end to my entrepreneurial creativity is the one I decide on. And it's interesting because so many of my friends are retiring or they're like,
Uh-huh.
I should retire. And
Yep.
I'm thinking, why would I do that? Like what? Because right now I work most days, most weekdays all day long doing work that I love. I'm with my students. I go out for an hour at night with my chickens. Now daylight savings time is here.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So my husband and I will go on a 15-mile bike ride after work.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's just like, it's glorious. And so to have that balance of brain stimulation and learning and outside and relationship and all of that all at once. I mean, that's a lifestyle. And that's what I teach my students that you're building a lifestyle. It's not just about the money and it's not just about the work. It all goes together. So what I would say is it's never too late to do that. It's just
I
never too
love
late to
that.
do it.
That's right. I tell my people that all the time.
Mhm.
It's never too late.
Mhm.
That is fantastic. Well, first of all, happy birthday, a little early.
Thank you. Yep.
And congratulations because yeah, who was it Mark Twain? I forget who said it, but find something you love to do and then find a way to get paid to do it.
And I've been very blessed to do that. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, so at the end of my episodes, I love to bring it around to we've been talking about fun things all along, but something fun. Do you have a favorite cocktail or glass of wine that you enjoy?
I do. So my favorite cocktail is a glass about this tall,
Yes.
filled with ice to the top, with Svedka vodka. And
Uh-huh.
then I take the fresh lime juice. I just got this new thing. It's like a
Hmm.
citrus squeezer thing. You push the lime down and it goes around and it just like pulls all the pulp and everything out. It's
Oh, that's
insane.
fantastic.
Yeah, so I put that on and I use large organic limes and I usually use
Uh-huh.
four of them.
Oh,
All the juice into the vodka and
uh-huh.
I'm a happy camper.
Oh my goodness. Do you add any sweetener at all to it?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't like to drink my calories. It's been like kind of a lifelong rule for me. So
Okay.
no, I like the edge of the vodka
Uh-huh.
and the lime just it's my husband's always sneaking a sip of my drink. I'm like, stop that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's mine. Get your own.
yeah, really, really. So yeah, that's what I love to drink.
Okay. So what you described it like a tall.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So and no like club soda. I just imagine the lime being very tart and citrusy.
It is, but what happens is the ice starts to melt and
Oh
it
yeah.
becomes like
Okay.
the glass becomes very cloudy with the citrus
Mm.
all mixed in.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, what would it be like? It would be kind of like lemon ice. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
can imagine that kind of tart taste, but it doesn't make you go,
Oh my
like that.
God. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it doesn't make you do that. It's just more, it's very refreshing. And I haven't had anyone sip my drink and not love it.
Oh my gosh. I am going to try that. I
Yeah.
love a squeeze of lime in my vodka and club soda.
Uh-huh.
But I am going to try just the lime juice and see how
Yeah, the
I.
club soda, I'm not a fan. There's something sort of like dry about it. It sort of
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
takes, and I don't enjoy that. But yeah, it's really good. So healthy amount, like, this much vodka in the tall
Uh-huh.
glass, and then yeah, fill in
Okay.
lime juice. And I usually let it sit for 5 or 6 minutes
Uh-huh.
before I drink it. Hmm.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm going to experiment with that. And for my listeners, I have a thing called Sipper Club. Once a month, we get together and sip together on Zoom. And I think that's going to be a future recipe because that sounds
Oh yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, it is delicious. It used to be lemonade, but
Mm-hmm.
recently my husband and I have cleaned up our diets and um we're not taking or eating, drinking any
Uh-huh.
natural flavors, artificial flavors,
Yep.
coloring, anything like that. And it's almost
Sweeteners and that
impossible.
thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no artificial sweeteners. That stuff is formaldehyde. So none of that. And so we stopped that. And so we had to figure out what the cocktail was going to be if
Okay.
no longer drinking lemonade. Yeah, so that's what we did.
Oh, I love it.
Hmm.
Okay. Good. Good and healthy. Very cool. Okay, so what's a fun memory shared with friends while you're sipping or not sipping? Just fun memories.
Oh, oh my gosh. Well, the thing that I really love about where I live is that so I've always lived in these controlled areas where there's an HOA and all of this, and
Mm-hmm.
my husband and I can do anything we want. So last year we planted an orchard. So we can
Oh.
just get these ideas and just we spend days and days and days researching them and planting. And so I guess my fun memories would be things that I do with him
Mm-hmm.
outside in the farm. We have something called, we don't just
Mm.
have chickens, we have Chicken Village. And Chicken Village is three coops with these beautiful runs that we built. And
Uh-huh.
this year, the memory at the end of the summer is going to be all the flowers and all the wildflowers that I plant
Oh.
out there around the
Oh,
chickens, and
beautiful.
probably a fire pit. We're talking about where we're going to
Mm.
put that.
Nice.
But yeah, those are the things I like to do.
Do you have a like some kind of fence around the coop to keep them safe from predators and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we have three coops and then each one has a run. So the runs are typically 10 feet wide, 20 feet long, and 6 feet tall. And they're beautiful. They're red. We painted them all. And
Mm.
we have something called hardware cloth. It's a very dense wire that's a screen. And so we wrap the entire run, including underneath, because things can burrow
Yep.
under, and they're all wrapped up. So it's filled with sand, and they live out there. Um, During the day and they have water and food and they have logs to jump onto and a roost that they can, look out. And then about an hour before sunset, I go out and I let all 25 out and they run around and they eat grass and it's like I don't know what I want to call it,
It's
rainy
happy
season.
hour.
It's happy hour. So they find all these worms and it's hysterical
Uh-huh.
because they chase each other around. One of them will
Oh.
find a worm and they'll see it hanging from their mouth.
Uh-huh.
The chicken, it's just, they look like this when they're running, like, nope, nope, you can't have it. Like, you don't see me, don't look at me. And they try to run off into a corner and eat their worm without anyone else getting it.
Oh. That's got to be fun and kind of comical, I'm sure.
They are clowns. They are clowns. And they jump up on my lap and sit down and they
Oh,
love to snuggle. They're very sweet. It's
that's
surprising.
cute.
It's surprising, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet most people would not and would not think that about a chicken.
No, no. They'll like I'll be sitting in a chair out there and they'll come down, they'll come right to my feet and I'll pick them up and I'll put them in between my legs with their little
Uh-huh.
feet out. And they love
Uh-huh.
to be back rubbed and scratched.
Oh.
They're just like, oh, this is so good.
They have a spa day.
They do. And yes, and sometimes they get dirty and we bring them in the kitchen, we bathe them and we blow them dry.
Oh my gosh, they are spoiled chickens.
They are. They all have names.
I
Yeah, they're
love
very
it.
spoiled.
Oh. Oh,
It's
you
fun.
mentioned an orchard too. What kind of trees do you have?
Yes. So we have a cherry tree, a prune plum tree. We have a Granny Smith apple tree and a Envy, I think it is, apple tree.
Mm-hmm.
We have two pear trees. I'm trying to think and we just got two pecan trees.
Oh wow.
So we have this big giant field next to so our house, there are just these separate fields and our house is on one field and then the orchard is next to it and dividing it. When we bought the house, there were these three really big scraggly bushes. I had no idea what they were, but I went
Mm-hmm.
out there one day and I said to my husband, we've got to take these down. These things are like they're filled with vines and people like
Yeah.
there's all kinds of stuff growing. And I dug into it a little bit. We started cleaning it out, and I realized with the help of a friend, it was blueberry bushes.
Oh my gosh.
And last year, I decided that we were going to weigh all the blueberries just to see how many blueberries we got off these bushes.
Yeah.
313 pounds. We
Oh
had to
my
buy a
gosh.
freezer. We bought a freezer of blueberries. Yeah. So blueberry cobbler, blueberry pie, blueberry
Oh,
preserves. So July is the month. So I am out
okay.
there 2 or 3 hours a day,
Oh,
picking blueberries in the sun, listening to country music. It
yep.
probably
And with purple fingers and
they don't actually turn purple. I have this I
really?
have an apron that I put on. It's about
Uh-huh.
this deep and it sits
Yep.
on my waist and they're high bush blueberries so they're very
Okay.
tall. In fact, I get on a ladder to get the ones at the
Oh
top.
gosh. Uh-huh.
And I just pull them and put them into my apron until
Yeah.
it's like it's too heavy and then I pull them into a big giant bowl and yeah, we filled two freezers last year.
Dang. Oh
Hmm.
my gosh. Well, I wish we lived closer because I could use some of those.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Gosh. Okay. So is there anything else you want to share with my audience? How could people find you?
Oh, yeah. So probably the best way is to go to thevaconnection.com, thevaconnection.com. Scroll down to the bottom and subscribe to my newsletter. I send out a newsletter every Monday, and I try to really help people see the possibilities. I wouldn't really call them. They're not all about selling things, so you'll
Mm-hmm.
see opportunities there, but it really is about the mindset work we need to do to have the life that we want to create.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love for people to subscribe to my newsletter. And then when we do have free trainings, which we have one coming up in April, you'll hear about those too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Belinda. This has been delightful.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. All right. Bye bye.
Bye. That's a wrap on this episode of Penny for Your Shots. If you loved today's conversation, don't let the inspiration stop here. Get my weekly insider updates straight to your inbox. It's where I spill behind the scenes goodies, exclusive tips, and all the fun stuff I don't always share on the podcast. Sign up now at pennyforyourshots.com/insider. I'll see you in your inbox next Thirsty Thursday. Cheers!